Hi, friends. Let's talk about politics today. So the other day, I was talking to one of my friends, and he was talking about, the state of the world, Trump, Iran, that kind of stuff. And I'm really worried about, AI as an existential risk. And he's not so much. And I think that's kind of weird. So I was like, why aren't you worried about AI destroying everything? Why are you so worried about local politics? Local as in it's the entire globe. But other than that, he's not concerned about other parts of politics. I don't know, the interplanetary affairs. And he was like, well, if you ask who's killed more people, Russia or OpenAI, which one has killed more people? Then it would be yeah, I guess that's technically correct, right? ChatGPT has I think a non-zero kill count, but it's not very high. But this feels kind of like somebody saying, hey, do you think nuclear weapons are going to be dangerous in 1944? And it's they haven't killed anybody yet. And guns and bombs have sure killed a lot of people. Are people really going to worry about these things? And it's yeah, they're pretty dangerous, right? It's the kind of thing where it scales up and then hits a knee in the curve, and suddenly it matters more than everything that came before. And, I'm a big proponent of that. But I was like, aren't you worried about what AI is going to do to politics? Just AI politics. And he's like, well, what do you mean? So I think that right now, the best way to put it is we're in an era of politics that you could best describe as legacy politics. There's going to be a post-AI politics, and it's going to be completely different from everything that came before. You will not be able to predict everything about it, and humans will sort of by its nature not be able to deal with it. You won't be able to fully understand it even when it happens. So I think that I can make an argument that's just a couple of axioms, and the logical conclusion of all those axioms is there's going to be post-legacy, post-AI politics, and they're going to be different. Okay, so let me explain my argument to you. Also, I hope you enjoy my blurred background and my blurred self, because I got all kinds of baby stuff back here, so you don't have to look at it. So axiom number 1, AI decisions are cheaper than human decisions. I hope no one will debate me on that, but I don't know. I feel like it's pretty obvious, because you can go ask, one of the GPTs, what's the best lubricant to use on a squeaky door hinge? And it's oh, I have all the patience in the world to tell you. I mean, that's really what's killing Stack Overflow, right? You can go ask it a question, and it doesn't say, well, why are you trying to do that? Well, actually, this is closed as duplicate. And, it'll just answer your question. And it keeps getting cheaper. It keeps getting more effective. You can use it to make bulk decisions, hey, I want to give really crappy chat support to all my customers. What do I do? And all the AI vendors step in. They're like, crappy chat support? I have that. So anyway, axiom 1, AI decisions are cheaper than human decisions, economically, if you're paying for them. I hope no one will disagree with that. Number 2, humans made all decisions in the past, I guess, of consequence. Animals make decisions. Who cares about them? But humans did make all the decisions. Number 3, people's political views and ultimately the actions they take on politics come from information sources. And I feel like that's generically posed enough. Maybe someone could argue that this is the thing to argue with. So where do you get your political views from? Where do other people get them from? You get them from firsthand experience. Usually it's pretty limited, but some people are oh, I've had an encounter with homeless people, and now that I have these thoughts about it, or something like that. Or I had an encounter with taxes, and I think they're great, and we should have more of them. Sometimes that happens. But that's one of the sources. People also get it through their parents, and they get it through friends and family. And so I would say most people's general political views, are you conservative or liberal? That probably matches your parents. I think most people are like that. But then specific nuance views, I would say probably come from the last thing, which is feeds of information. And I'll just say feeds to be generic. But, you read the news, you watch the news, you listen to the news on the radio because you're a million years old. You read Facebook or Twitter or something like that, a feed of information, blogs. And as I like to say, what you end up doing is you see the world through a straw, because even reading as fast as you can only see this limited amount of information. So you see other people's condensed views of it. And that's one of the things that you can get to. And so think that's most of the stuff. I guess you could look at something like a stock ticker. That's an objective source of information. It's kind of a feed. But for the most part, I think this is going to be people's sources of information. And so then my fourth axiom, which I think ties it all together, is all these feeds of information. So not your firsthand experience, not your parents, not your friends and family, but all the feeds, they're all going to have an AI in them. Right now, they don't. Like, if you read the news, maybe there's a human making all of the decisions. I don't know. I think we all agree that time is coming to a close. But if you go read someone's blog, probably they're just writing it, right? Maybe an AI is helping. But in the future, every feed is going to have an AI both ingesting, like it'll ingest various facts, various other feeds and sources, and it will decide what to post. And you'll have maybe the same AI, maybe another AI deciding what to post. Increasingly, they'll be writing the articles. They'll be picking the images. They'll be generating the images out of thin air. It doesn't even have to be LLMs. It can be whatever. But every feed is going to have an AI in it. And we also see that in like corporate communication channels. When people talk to each other, increasingly, it's like, I have an AI write this email for me. And you're like, dear manager, please don't fire me. And, the manager is like, hey, I need you to write an update on your employment and send it back. And I think the future is every feed is going to have an AI. It's just like, it's a consequence of AI decisions being cheaper. It's easier to do it that way. So what that'll ultimately mean is an AI is just like putting its thumb on the scale for everything we see in here. Unless you see it firsthand. I should also make the additional argument of, so I said, you'll get your political views from friends and family and maybe your parents, but those are just sort of hierarchical representations. They get all their stuff from firsthand sources or feeds also, right? Like, they're not AIs, but all their stuff is going to come through an AI too. I guess you could be Amish, but there's no way to form like a AI-proof network of people that just get all their political views from firsthand sources and then sharing them amongst each other. As soon as you step on the internet, you're going to be flooded with AI stuff. So I think that says that in the future, all the politicians and all their constituents are also going to see all their information this way. So all the decisions they make, all the information that they get, it's going to be AI mediated. And like, maybe the AIs are like these militant pacifists or something like that, or they're super rabid warmongers. I don't know. But they're probably going to encourage people to take specific policy positions, probably largely like 2022 era, all the English language internet politics. And unless something changes. So I think we're going to be in this like post humans being the majority source of influence on politics era. And so right now it's legacy politics. I don't know a better term for it. I don't know a good term for the future either. Post-AI politics, but I think it's going to be like that. So, I laid this argument out much more efficiently to my friend, and he's like, yeah, but what can you do about this? And the best I can come up with is you can think about my argument. Am I right? If you don't think I am, I guess leave a comment. I'm not a big fan of YouTube comments, but oh well. If you think I'm right, just think about it for yourself. If you're smart, maybe you can think about it for yourself and you can figure out something that can be done about it. And beyond that, the best I can think of is, well, you can ask an AI, maybe it'll tell you something. And then you can start learning how to ask LLMs better questions. If you're in the position of receiving a feed of information or controlling what the prompt is or whatever that it goes through, and this is presuming it's all LLMs, right? You might be able to, or we might all collectively learn how to ask better questions that generate less biased results in the way that we want. And if you have any kind of influence, you work for one of the AI labs or something like that, you can try and make better LLMs. You can start thinking about this and say, how do we, you can't unbias them, right? So how do you bias them towards maybe causing less war or having more libertarian viewpoints? I would appreciate that. I think more practically what will happen is AI labs will realize this and they will say, how do we bias them towards the politics that we like? How do we bias them towards being really favorable of AI regulation and keeping them relatively unregulated, just enough to keep competitors out? And I think that's probably what they're going to do. And they're going to be really hard to stop because they'll have more power than all the rest of the people on Earth. So enjoy thinking about that, I guess. So anyway, I hope you found this interesting. I try to make videos that are like what past Blake would have enjoyed hearing when he was like 20. So I think I would have enjoyed thinking about this. If you want to come argue with me about it, I have a little website. I'll put it in the description, but it's together.lol. And it's kind of like Slack. It's kind of like Discord. I have ambitious goals for it, but right now it's mostly a place to chat and also snark about other websites. But feel free to come there and argue with me. I'll be on it all the time. So if you wanted to chat with me, then you can. I'll be there. Anyway, thank you for your attention to this matter. Have a good day.